And we are back, and this is our discussion topic. And our discussion topic is my hat. No, I'm joking. The discussion topic is I think this is a rumor, right, B? But that Netflix could be purchased by Disney, and Reed Hastings made Disney's new CEO.
It was a rumor a year ago, but it got substantiated by the AT&T Time Warner deal
Yeah,
that the big companies are on the move. They need their content, and they need their exclusive content that they can get people to subscribe to their services, because all is about subscriptions these days. If it's a computer, an OS, or whatever, you can't buy outright things. So Disney wouldn't try that because, as you know, Disney has a tendency to put their content behind walls and say, okay, you can for this amount of time buy this old classic from us, but then it's gone. And if that doesn't sound like Netflix to you, I can help you, but it seems pretty similar to me. And the content that they can provide to Netflix would be awesome. But then again, they just sold off the rights to the Star Wars movies streaming to Turner. So I'm wondering who gets what from whom and for how long.
yeah, that's interesting because, um, like right now, I know because I work in as a mobile phone salesman, and one of those being AT&T, who owns DirecTV. I do know some of the stuff that they're like. I talked to the rep yesterday, and he's telling me some of the stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, this sounds so cool. The DirecTV Now sounds really cool, and they even said that they bought. He told me that they bought DirecTV not to like make one product better. It was because of the customer base that they have. I mean, it was a thing of, he said that DirecTV has like, what is it, like 50 million people, 50 million customers in Latin America alone. Stuff like that. My numbers could be really wrong, and I'm just like, wow, that's a lot of people that are subscribed to DirecTV. And so yeah, it made total sense. Same thing with them trying to buy uh, Time Warner or Turner. It makes sense as well because then it's
No, they
them.
didn't buy Turner, just to make that clear. That's they sold them the rights to stream or show the Star Wars library.
No. AT&T, AT&T.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, the other side that was inspiring this. It makes sense for them to then buy Turner because now they have a production house. They have more production houses. So you flip to the Netflix Disney side, and one of the things we mentioned earlier on the uh, was the Disney or the Marvel Netflix shows, and basically it's a co-production. What would it take to make it a production? Well, one of the companies buying the other, and I don't see with how popular Netflix is them buying Disney. I don't see that being really possible.
Oh.
Um, it, but I will say this though: if there are people who are all doom and gloom, like, "Oh my gosh, it'll just be Disney anywhere," sort of thing, I don't see that being the possibility or the being the right mindset, because there could be stuff put into place. Reed Hastings would more than likely be able to oversee that, especially if he's the Disney CEO.
That's the next
Because
big thing, yeah.
yeah, because Bob Iger, I believe he said he was retiring in
2018.
2018, which he pushed that back before. Like I think he said he's going to retire in like 2017, and
Correct.
then he just pushed it back. So I'm pretty sure he wants to retire. It's not just like, hey guys, I swear next year I'm retiring. It's no, I'm getting up there. I mean, I'm sort of wanting to retire. Um, Reed Hastings would be a good would probably would I think would be a really good CEO for Disney.
He's a loose cannon sometimes, or a loose. He he has his own opinion and he follows through with his idea. That's not a bad thing because sometimes some companies lack exactly that. And yes, he would be quite a guy to go to. Just to say, to be more specific, I didn't say that Netflix will buy Disney at all. Saying who's giving content to who? Will Disney open the doors, the floodgates that Netflix got more content from the Disflix world, and will Netflix bring them more unique, original content so that they have a library to worth selling to?
It's so with that, I think it's interesting that I definitely look at it more the second of this is a way for Disney. This is a way for Disney to put their content and maybe ideas that some other people have had, but ABC is not exactly the best fit. Freeform's not exactly the best fit. Their stake in Hulu would make it not necessarily the best fit. You know, any of the products that Disney already owns, it's not exactly the best fit. We could put it out on Netflix, but there's that loss possibility there. But if they then own Netflix, there's not really that loss because they can then go, oh, well, does it work here? And if the answer is yes, I should say the risk is a lot lower there. So that's where I see this really, really taking effect is in the, oh, here's, we got these other shows that we don't know exactly where to put them. Put them on Netflix.
Netflix doesn't want to be a dumping ground. We already thought that when we saw Adam Sandler and Kevin Hart show up, and oh god, and I had the fear that they try to do content under no matter what, just put the stuff out there and lose the quality that they have set up, the high bar. But I'm more thinking about Disney's influence on their library, saying if they want to reduce the edgy stuff, Disneyfy it. And they owned Miramax before, which brought Pulp Fiction and some other Quentin Tarantino movies. They brought in Kevin Smith movies, so they can take a property and step aside and let's do it its own thing.
Yeah.
And primarily, there will be interest in the user data that was mentioned by TechCrunch, and it makes sense because they know exactly how long you stay on which episode, what you're hovering over when you're going through a library and so on. And they have deals in so many countries by an order of magnitude more than every competitor elsewhere out there. So it will be interesting for us, Europeans and Asians and South Americans, that we get content maybe at the same time as the Americans and vice versa. So there's a win-win situation possibility, but it's Disney, and people get antsy when they think about the big Disney hand taking over such a beloved property like Netflix is.
Yeah, because that backfired so bad when they bought Lucasfilm, and that backfired so bad when they bought Marvel Comics. I mean, oh my gosh, those were just horrible. I no longer read a Marvel comic now. I no longer am a fan of Star Wars or Indiana Jones or anything that Industrial Light and Magic does now.
Well, can Marvel's movies under Disney go as far as they can go under Fox or under Sony? Not really.
Yeah.
That's the thing. There's a thing of Disneyfication of the Marvel properties, but Marvel was itself already something like that, and we enjoy Marvel because they are so lighthearted most of the times. But when it comes to edgier stuff, it lags. And popcorn is fine, but from time to time, we prefer having some different condiments on it or whatever. But I respect people that are afraid. My hope is that we get more international representation of that content there's out there, and for the Americans, have fun with the 2-3 companies you can choose from for every content there is and nothing else. So they will eat up competitors like nothing when they do go follow through with that, and AT&T as well.
Yeah, I mean that is the bad part of it, but at the same time, I mean, I could see them very easily having to do either they have to sell their stake in Hulu, or they they have to be like NBC with Hulu, and they have to be a silent partner. It's where they do own Netflix, but their CEO, their Disney has no say over Netflix. I could see that being a possibility too.
Let me put another monkey wrench in there. Apple, or better said, the wife of the widow of Steve Jobs owns a big part of it, and I could imagine that they go and put many things more on Apple TV, make it available there, and optimize it so Apple will get a better app and other things like that. And they maybe could cut off Android or stuff like that. That's the only far off danger that they realize in when they pull the Apple card and mess up the things that were good before.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that. But I don't know. I don't know. I think this is more of a rumor than actual fact, but there was just a lot there to talk about. But all that being said, I think it is time to wrap up. This is another short show, folks. But hey, when you got your rant master on sabbatical, then we get shorter shows.